All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's Fall Step It Up Challenge informational webinar hosted by Fitbit. My name is Rick Westfall, and I am the Director of Education here at Health Action Council and current heavyweight champion of our last Step It Up Challenge for Health Action Council, at least. Today, we're joined by Bryce Rausch, National Sales Director for Fitbit. We've had a wonderful relationship with Bryce and Fitbit over the last several years, and today he's going to go over the rules of the challenge, how to use the Fitbit app, and answer any questions you might have about all things Step It Up Challenge. Before I turn things over to him, though, I want to remind you that if you do have any questions, to please use the chat box located on the right-hand side of your screen. I'll be monitoring the chat box throughout the course of the presentation, and then we'll pause at the end and hit Bryce with your question. If for some reason the chat box is not working or you run into any problems, you can email me your questions at rwestfall@healthactioncouncil.org. We're recording this webinar and we'll make it available to Health Action Council members on our website behind the Member Center at the end of day tomorrow. If you have any problem logging into the Member Center or need your password change or anything like that, again, just reach right out to me at rwestfall@healthactioncouncil.org and we'll get you taken care of. With that, Bryce, please lead us into the Fall Step It Up Challenge.
Yes, thank you so much. What an intro. And also, you know, if you were the champ of the last challenge, I wouldn't call you heavyweight. You must have been shedding pounds, you know, but congratulations. And very excited to be hosting yet another challenge with the Health Action Council. So today I'm going to walk everybody through some of the rules of the challenge, just as Rick just said. And we'll start by just, if you are new to Fitbit, or maybe your awareness of Fitbit is more of a, kind of general consumer. Oh, I see it in, shopping malls, back when we used to go to shopping malls, I guess I should say, or things like that. Let me just provide a little bit of context. We have been working with companies large and very small now for the last 12 years. We actually have about 1,600 kind of corporate wellness clients. Fitbits can be translated into multiple languages, but I bring this up mainly because I think a lot of people aren't aware that maybe we even have a challenge platform, and that's the tool that we'll be using while we go through the Step It Up Fall Challenge. Just to provide you a little bit of an overview of kind of what that means. So when I say our challenge platform, that is one tool that we have available for employers, researchers, health systems. There's a lot of different groups that can use Fitbit, so the list could be very long, so I'm not going to go through it entirely, but it all kind of bundles into something that's called Fitbit Care. You know, here I'm just kind of showing off some of the specific tools within the Fitbit Care solution. We are going to be using some combination of 2 to maybe 3 of these on this page, but I'm not going to tell you exactly which 3 they are until we get to the end. Ooh, a little bit of suspense there. All right, moving right along. So this is the Fall Step It Up Challenge. We have done many of these, and if this is your first time kind of joining us, welcome. Very excited to be hosting you and your team. So what is the Step It Up Challenge? It is a team-based step challenge. I never used to have the disclaimer that there is a max of 100 teams, but we done hit that ceiling during the last challenge. So it has been very wonderful being able to meet so many different groups that have been interested in participating in the Step It Up Challenge. And so I guess use that as a word of caution to drive a little bit of sense of urgency. If you're debating, should we do this challenge? Should we not do this challenge? Sign up fast because teams are going quickly. It is a 2-week challenge. We will be using the average steps per team each day throughout that 2-week challenge to determine your placement on our leaderboard. You need the Fitbit application to be able to participate, whether that is through the website, Fitbit.com, or if that's on the smartphone, which is what about 99% of people use to follow along. And that's all you have to be able to participate in this program. Is it better if you have a Fitbit device? It certainly makes it easier, and it means that it's kind of validated steps. So it's a little bit less headache, but you don't need to. I'm going to be going through some of the other ways that you can participate in this program, even if you do not have a Fitbit device today. What are we stepping for? Well, the team with the highest number of steps will get a healthy lunch for up to 50 people, which is a $500 value, and a $500 donation made to the local Ronald McDonald House or your school garden. So, and I know that teams have been very excited about that. You know, we just get so many gift cards. It's just sometimes nice to get something that reinforces health and wellness, and then also does good for our communities. All right. So what we're going to do is, this is kind of the first of just a handful of steps that kick off each of these Health Action Council Step It Up challenges. This right now, you are observing the informational webinar. After this, the next deadline to know is October 9th, where I am assuming you might be your team lead if you are on this webinar. You may not, but that is when team leads must register. So basically you're just saying, hey, I'm the team lead, so I will educate my team of, you know, any updates or what have you. I'm also going to be the one who chooses the name of our team, or I should at least say, has told us what that team is going to be. And you do those things, identifying yourself as the lead, as well as choosing your team name through the Health Action Council challenge site. When you go there, and this is a screenshot that I'm showing you here, but on the right-hand side, you'll fill in your information, click submit, and then we'll be able to go create your team. So then when you actually go to join the challenge, your team appears and you can join your team. Are you a repeat customer? Well, your team may have already been created. So let us know that you choose to participate, but otherwise we already probably have your team. If you would like to change your team name, please let us know. We can do that. And I should mention, as it relates to team names, puns are encouraged. We want all team leads to register by October 9th. So it's coming up. I think that's Friday. The next step, we have your team. You've been identified as the leader of said team. Now you need to join, and your teammates have to join. So they will go to fitbit.com/care/go. The website is going to look just like it looks over on the right. That's a screenshot of the exact site. And you will input our code for the program, which is 669508. Here's a little fun tip. If you go to fitbit.com/care/go/669508, it's as if we've saved your poor little fingers all that effort of inputting that 6-digit code, because it'll already be embedded. So it'll like auto input for you. Why do I share that? Well, it makes it just a hair easier for you to send a link out to your teammates for them to be able to join effortlessly. Look, we all know we're in a world of GoToMeetings and Zooms, and we're starting to learn which of our colleagues are more technologically challenged than others. So it could help save a little bit of a headache. So you and your team will all go to the same page, input the code, you'll find your team in the dropdown, you'll join your team, and that is it. If you are a visual learner, this is what it will look like. So you'll go to the URL, you've input the code, it'll say congrats, and then you'll be able to see where it says department or region. Well, it's going to say your team, and then you click team, and then you'll see your team from the drop-down menu. And then you will proceed to the Fitbit app. And that is all you have to do, especially if you already have a Fitbit device. Hey, I'm new to this. I don't have a Fitbit device, but I can't wait to participate in this challenge. What do I do? Well, you have two options. You can use Mobile Track, and that's what I would encourage you to do. So here's what you do. You go into your Fitbit application, and you go into your account settings, and you'll see you can add a device. And you're saying, Bryce, I don't have a device. I just told you that. Well, when you select that, all the way typically at the bottom, you're going to see a little image of a cell phone, and it's labeled Mobile Track. And there's a whole guide of this on the Health Action Council challenge site. So if you'd like to follow along there. But you will be able to add that. And what that's doing is, little did you know, all mobile devices have an accelerometer. That is the sensor that we use to track your steps. So you can just use your phones. So that is probably the easiest way to be able to do it. If that doesn't work for you for whatever reason, then you can manually log your activity as well. So you can go to Fitbit.com and log in with your Fitbit account credentials. And then there's a log tab. You'll click log and you could input even the specific number of steps. You know, if you're just out there counting your steps as you're walking out all day, like Rain Man or something, you could do that. Or you can log your exercises and we'll automatically convert your exercises into steps right through the Fitbit app. So either resource works for you, and it means that we can have even more people participate without requiring them to have a Fitbit device. We want as many people as possible, so it would be fantastic. Don't let that be a hurdle for you. We have a more comprehensive list of FAQs at the Health Action Council website, so I encourage you to go there if your question has not been answered, or if you don't get a chance to ask your question live with us today during this webinar. All right, I do want to share just a handful of kind of tips and tricks, things to kind of keep in mind as you are kind of getting ready to participate in the challenge. All right, we have had teams of 2, we have had teams of 50 plus, and often we're kind of asked, hey, you know, what's the right size team? I think it's somewhere between like 5 and 15. I don't think it's 2. In fact, I think that can almost be unfair. Because if you just got 2 marathon runners both on the same team, their average between the 2 of them is going to be electric. And so, or if you're a team of 2, conversely, and then boom, I sprained my ankle, but I'm still trying to participate, boy, you know, it doesn't take much to, you know, for all of a sudden, you know, somebody to anchor your team. Conversely, if you have a team of 50, well, that team's so big that it's going to be hard to play catch up. Because your average just factors in so many more individuals stepping each day. And so I'm not saying it's the worst thing. In fact, it's actually super fun to have large teams. It's very kind of community focused in that regard. But if you want to win, and let's face it, we all want to win, I would focus on somewhere between like 5 and 15. Let's just say that you have tons of people from your organization and they all want to participate, but you also want to listen and you're hanging on my every word. So you're trying to stick with that 5 to 15 number. What do you do? Well, as long as you're acting quickly, we could split you into multiple groups. So even if you have, even if you're just one organization, we can split you into multiple groups, capacity permitting. And so that way everybody can participate. One thing to keep in mind if you're the competitive sort, like Rick is, as you can tell, heavyweight champ over there, you may be paying attention. You may want to know, all right, so like, what do we got to do? What am I in for? And, you know, who's going to be like towards the top? And the average steps we typically see from teams is right in like the 10 to 12,000 range. If you don't have context of what that means, the average American worker takes about 5,100 steps per day. Now that's factoring in that they're kind of a fairly sedentary fella. And so the CDC says, hey, 5,100, do better. We want you to do about 10,000 steps per day. You know, that's more in line with a healthy lifestyle. Well, 10 to 12,000, so above that 10,000 threshold, tends to be the average people step during these challenges that we've done in the past. Now, again, if you're that competitive person, just know you got to up your game. That's the average. The winners are, you know, sometimes close to that 20,000 range. So get hustling. All right, and then if your activity tracking kind of seems low, you may want to consider your Fitbit location. What I mean by that is, look, I got 3 kids. Most of them can barely walk because they're so little. And so I'm pushing strollers. When I'm pushing that stroller, no one is more aggravated at Fitbit than this Fitbit employee. What do? Well, I move my Fitbit to my shoe or into my pocket. It needs to hit 2 of the 3 axes of motion for it to register as steps. And it's not doing much if I'm pushing that stroller or that grocery cart. So something to keep in mind if your hands are very sedentary. So there's a little tip for you. You know, also while you're moving, if you notice that maybe your miles seems inaccurate, one thing I would encourage you to do is if you go into your settings menu, you can adjust things like your stride length and check that out. Miles aren't a factor in this challenge, but aggravation might be. And if you're aggravated by looking at the data and it just looks wrong, I'm just trying to give you a quick tip to hopefully, save some stress down the road. Another tip, and this is an old slide, but it still applies. You just need to use a little bit more caution. Move together, but like 6 feet apart, I would say. However, we do know that when people are moving as a team or as a group, whether it's with your spouse and family or your colleagues, that it tends to be a good motivator to get out there, get your steps in, and go past what you normally would do if you're left to your own devices. All right, so some key dates to keep in mind. All of this is at the Health Action Council website. October 9th, that is when the team registration is closed, so act now. October 16th, that is when you'll need all of your teammates and yourself to have registered as well. So join the program by October 16th. October 18th is the start of our challenge. It will go to Halloween, and on November 3rd, we'll be able to announce the winners. All right. Depending on the type of support you need, you can either turn to Fitbit or turn to the Health Action Council. Why would you turn to Fitbit? Well, a couple reasons. One, let's say you do have a Fitbit device and something seems wrong. It's broken, you ran it over with the lawnmower, your kid dumped it down the toilet, which by the way has happened. I've had those calls before. Then you can reach out to us either through our website, through email, you can call our hotline. We do have dedicated resources for challenges like this, so you don't necessarily have to wait in line at the standard kind of Fitbit support. However, that line is usually fast moving. We usually have pretty good feedback about our support. If you have questions about things Fitbit related that aren't just troubleshooting or broken devices, you can contact me. Hi, I'm Bryce. So there's my email address and my cell phone. I'm physically located in Brunswick, Ohio. I know a lot of you on the line are in Northeast Ohio as well. So yeah, would be happy to chat with you and help however I can. On the health action side, your support will be manned by Katie Peterson. There's her email address and her phone number. If you have questions about your team, you're trying to adjust your team name, the steps don't seem to match what your expectations would be during the challenge. You just want to give Health Action Council a compliment, whatever it might be. Katie is a fantastic resource. She's lightning fast with questions, and so she'd be happy to help with whatever you need. All right. Remember I said that you might be using 2 of 3 of the different tools and resources that Fitbit provides our clients? Well, that brings us to, and one more thing. All right, so life is bonkers these days. I know Fitbit is not back in the office. I know lots of organizations aren't. Essential workers have probably never been more stressed for a variety of reasons than they are right now. And so we're, as part of our mission, we're always trying to make the world a healthier place. And that might mean trying to stay well while you're at home. We have a resource that we launched literally 1 year ago. And in that time, it's now one of our most popular resources. It's called Fitbit Premium. So it's a membership service, usually costs about $80 a year. We have over 500,000 people that are paid subscribers just in our first year of having Fitbit Premium, which obviously we're super proud of. This is an example of all the stuff that is included in Fitbit Premium. Lots of different workouts on demand. There's guided programs like Kicking Your Sugar, all sorts of stress and mindfulness, relaxation programs as well, which who doesn't need that right now? We even have some COVID specific resources, some tied to Fitbit Premium, some just available within our Fitbit app. One includes, if you have one of our smartwatches, you can even download our new watch face, which has a reminder to wash your hands. Who doesn't need to wash their hands a little bit more these days? Really, I should have gotten into the lotion selling business because everyone's washing their hands so much that I'm sure your hands are cracked and red like mine are. Why do I bring it up? Because we are going to extend a free Fitbit Premium membership during the challenge to all those that wish to participate. Use it as much or not at all, that's totally up to you. Just telling you that I'm giving it to you for free. So you're welcome. If you have any questions about it, let me know. We have lots of organizations that have been rolling out Fitbit Premium to their employees to do things like spending their wellness dollars, because the way that they used to spend their wellness dollars maybe aren't options anymore. You know, who's having a masseuse come to the office when your office is dusty and empty right now? So extending Fitbit Premium to employees has been a popular pick. I hope you enjoy it as much as many of our other clients have. We are recording this presentation. I'll also be making my deck available to anybody who would like it as a resource. I just have some more information around things that you can engage with within Fitbit Premium. But one last note before we open it up for questions is that for anyone that would like to inquire about maybe buying their employees Fitbits, whether it's as an end of year using wellness dollars or a wellness budget, or just to try to encourage people to participate in this challenge, let me know. And we have special pricing for anyone involved in the challenge for devices. So let me know if I can help there as well. And thank you everybody for your time. So at this point, I think that we can stop, and if there's any questions, happy to answer them.
You might have already said this once, but are there a max number of employees on a team?
Oh, great question. I did not. 200 max teammates on one team, max of 100 teams total in the challenge. I should mention, if there is an overwhelming popularity or interest in the challenge, we can consider even having 2 challenges to support the fall Step It Up challenge, but 200 is going to be the max. I would try to stay short of the 200 because that gets chaotic, but that's the max.
So yeah, so with your trackers also, you know, what do you recommend for cyclists or swimmers? Is it the same kind of tie it to your shoe or leave it on your wrist? What do you think about that, Bryce?
Yeah, all of our devices are waterproof at this point, which is a relief because I've been at Fitbit back when almost none of them were. And I had angry people, you know, telling me all the time how, hey, that's not fair. My thing doesn't work anymore. So for swimmers, so wear it on your wrist. Make sure it's nice and snug. The reality is your swim probably not going to give you steps because you're not stepping. And I know that's a bummer to hear, but you are. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not like you're being unhealthy. Like that's really what this is all about. But as it relates to that, just to set expectations, you may have a similar experience with cyclists. I would say with cyclists, 2 things though. One, I would probably move it to my shoe. It does mean you're going to miss out on the heart rate data, but your shoes are going to be way more active than your hands are going to be while cycling. I'd recommend the Charge 4 and above probably would be my go-to devices. The reason why is because of GPS is built into all of those devices. So you'll be getting a more accurate representation of your cycle. Cycle is hard for any wearable company unless you have GPS on there, just because you could be gliding down a hill and it looks like you're just taking a nap sometimes. And so, but in reality, you know, you're hauling. So yeah, those would be recommendations.
Yeah, I had an experience. I rode about 30 or 40 miles one day, and it said I had something just silly like 5,000 steps, like nothing, you know.
Yeah.
I just want to double check one more time with you, Bryce. You said 10 to 15. That's like the maximum, or that's like the wheelhouse for competition and a good team size. Is that correct?
That's right in the, hey, we're all having a good time zone. That's how I would think of it. When it gets way too much, because you got to remember, while you're doing this challenge, you know, like let's say you have Rick on your team, and then he goes for, you know, a 10-mile run. You kind of want to see that your team got a nice bump for that. You know, you want to get rewarded when people go above and beyond and are really doing big things, but not so much that it's kind of like unfair. And so that's why if you have like, you know, 5 or 10 folks, it's not going to be such a big bump that all of a sudden now you've won the challenge and everyone should just go home, but it's going to be enough that you'll probably notice it. And so, but also, you know, so that's the wheelhouse. That's when, you know, people are having a good time. Also, just from a from a team building standpoint. You're going to have a messenger in the Fitbit app while this challenge is going on, and you're going to be able to see as you're leapfrogging teams or you're being leapfrogged, you'll get little notifications of that happening. And so it's really cool when people go and they look at their team and they, are able to send messages encouraging people to get out there and maybe take a walk with them. If you have 150 people on that team, then that might just be, a voice into a crowd. And so that's why it's, can be more fun if it's, somewhere in that like 5 to 15 range.
Right on. Yeah, and gang, that throughout the course of the challenge, Katie sends out mini challenges every day or every couple days. Katie, if you want to chime in, just while we have everyone's attention. So when you have like a smaller group like that, and there's a little goal for everybody to get like 12,000 steps or X number of staircases or something like that, it's a little more manageable and accountable if you have like a little smaller group that you can kind of keep pace with. So if there's no other questions today, Bryce,
wait, Rick.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me chime in. So yeah, we'll have currently there's 4 mini challenges that I have booked into the challenge. So stay tuned for those, and we might possibly have a few more, but more detail to come throughout the challenge. And then I think I did see some questions in the chat box that want to be answered. So if we could look at those.
Yeah, I think we already covered those questions, Katie.
Okay. Well, good. I thought somebody had asked how to split up teams.
Well, we could just broach that. Bryce, do you want to field that? How do you split a team up, or how does that work?
Yeah, well, so you just got to let Katie know, really. So as you're from a team lead standpoint, if you've decided, hey, oh, wow, everybody wants to do this, then what I would do is I would go to the team lead registration and I'd submit a second registration and kind of indicate the second team name. I don't think it's necessarily a problem if you want to indicate that you're the team lead for both. Just acknowledge that you can only be on one team at a time. But that's probably the best way. And then, if you need any other assistance, with any of that, and yeah, share your specifics with either Katie or myself, and we can try to help you out.
Katie, is there anything else you'd like to conclude with?
Yes. So can we go over how to view your participants before the challenge?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you want to see who else is on your team and the challenge hasn't launched yet, when you go into the Fitbit app, because the challenge hasn't launched yet, you're not going to see a challenge. What you can do is if you go to fitbit.com, and it's going to look like a store, but you are going to see the little kind of hamburger, the 3 kind of dots along the right side indicating there's a menu there, and then you can select dashboard. You log in and you'll be able to see your personal dashboard, and you'll see a tab that is usually invisible except for when you're in a program like this called My Wellness. Select My Wellness, and that's where you're going to be able to see, even though we're not in a challenge, all the other teams that are participating and a real-time leaderboard for all of those. And then you'll also be able to see a My Team area and see where, who else is participating from your organization, and then also the leaderboard, so how you're stack ranked amongst your friends and colleagues as well.
Okay. Anything else, Katie?
There was one last question I saw. Somebody would like to know how they can access these slides. They missed the beginning and the recording, please.
So unfortunately,
yeah, as I mentioned at the yeah.
I was just gonna say.
I was just gonna say, Bryce.
Go ahead, Rick.
After you. We have a recording of the webinar that is really live right this second. Bryce is going to send me a copy of the slides, and by the end of tomorrow, we'll have it on our member center. But for anyone that is not a Health Action Council member that would like access to either Bryce's slides or the video itself, please feel free to reach out to me at rwestfall@healthactioncouncil.org, and I can take care of you very quickly with those. All right. Is that the end of the questions that you fielded, Katie?
I believe so. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And with that, Bryce, thank you. It is always immensely entertaining. I believe that I laughed 5 times during the course of your presentation. Good thing I was on mute the whole time. So thanks again for making this seamless for Health Action Council and making it such a great event. And for everybody on the call, best of luck in the challenge. For those of you that are Health Action Council members, as I said, I will post on our member center a copy of Bryce's slides and a copy of today's recording. Again, if anyone needs it, just shoot me an email. And then the last thing I'd like to throw your way before I let you go is that our next webinar, Biosimilars, what employers should know and why they should act, hosted by Pacific Research Institute, takes place next Tuesday, October 13th at 10 a.m. If for any of you on the call, if any of your employees have gotten hit with some specialty biologic medication and you wonder if there's an alternative to lower those costs, you will definitely be interested in this high-level overview of biosimilars. And that concludes everything we're doing for today. Again, best of luck, everybody, in the Step It Up Challenge, and we hope to see you next time. Bryce, again, thanks, man. Take care of yourself.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.